Part 37. God Level Tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tien Taido. Chapter 364. A human god fruit directly made Li Hao's consciousness become extremely powerful, and even his soul underwent a transformation. At that moment, his soul left his body and sensed a long distance. Li Hao saw a mountain, a snow-capped mountain. But at that moment, an invisible force directly hit Li Hao, causing him to break out in a cold sweat. What is that place? Li Hao couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. The next moment. Roar. Hiss. At this time, the thunder frog and the two-headed python roared at Li Hao. Goddess Monument. Li Hao heard the roar of the two demon kings and muttered. Li Hao and the two demon kings were in tune with each other. This was the name that the two demon kings told Li Hao at this moment. Li Hao's heart was suddenly shaken again. These two demon kings were the demon beasts in the secret realm. They must be very familiar with this secret realm. These are two ready-made guides. Li Hao directly put the two-headed python into the system world, and then said directly to the thunder frog. Let's go. Lead the way. The next moment, Li Hao jumped directly onto the back of the thunder frog. Roar. The thunder frog roared, and then burst out with amazing power, heading forward. The thunder frog jumped away at a very fast speed, and instantly crossed a long distance. But the next moment, the thunder frog brought Li Hao to a strange place again. Huh. I saw a wooden door in front of me, just like the gate of a courtyard, but the strange thing was that Li Hao couldn't see the scene inside the courtyard. There was a plaque on the wooden door, but it seemed that it had been too long and there was no word on it. I asked you to take me to the goddess monument, why did you bring me here? Li Hao couldn't help but ask the thunder frog again, with a strange color in his eyes. Roar. The thunder frog immediately shouted at Li Hao again, and even stretched out his front paw to point at the wooden door. What? You said there are elixirs in here. Li Hao heard the cry of the thunder frog and immediately made another sound of surprise. Li Hao immediately looked at the wooden door in front of him, and a gleam of brilliance appeared in his eyes. Roar. At this time, the thunder frog roared at Li Hao again. You said you can't get in? There is a wall. Li Hao heard what the thunder frog meant again. Try again. Li Hao said to the thunder frog again. Boom. The thunder frog heard Li Hao's words and did not hesitate. It directly blasted towards the wooden door in front. However, just when the thunder frog came to the distance of about 2 inches in front of the wooden door. Buzz buzz buzz. In front of the wooden door, a powerful and invisible force was born in the void. I saw a ripple appear in the void, and suddenly the huge body of the thunder frog seemed to hit an invisible wall directly, and then was directly repelled by a blatant force. Bang! The huge body of the thunder frog was shaken back several feet away. Li Hao frowned slightly when he saw this scene, but his heart was shocked again. Spiritual Medicine Garden. At this moment, the words appeared on the plaque, which were clearly 3 elegant large characters: Spiritual Medicine Garden. From the name of this garden, we can know that there should be a lot of spiritual medicine in this garden. Maybe this garden is where the owner of the secret realm grows spiritual medicine. However, there is still this restriction in this garden. This restriction should have been left behind in the past to protect this spiritual medicine garden, but even after so many years, it still has such a great power that even the thunder frog can't rush in. Stay by the side. I'll try. Seeing this scene, Li Hao immediately said to the thunder frog again. Let the thunder frog guard to prevent other people. The next moment, Li Hao looked directly at the spiritual medicine garden in front of him, and then walked towards the direction of the wooden door. Soon, Li Hao came to the front of the wooden door, where the thunder frog had just been. Boom! At this moment, Li Hao suddenly burst out with a powerful aura of cultivation, and an extremely strong spiritual light flowed on Li Hao's body, and Li Hao's aura became extremely amazing. Then, Li Hao took another step forward. Boom! In an instant, an invisible force emerged in the void, and the forbidden power seemed to be activated again, and it crushed towards Li Hao with a majestic force. Sizzle! Li Hao's body was filled with sharp sword intent, and the majestic sword energy wrapped Li Hao's body. The forbidden power directly acted on Li Hao's body, but was resisted by this powerful sword energy, making a harsh sound. The space was torn apart at this moment. Boom! The whole world seemed to be shaken at this moment. Li Hao used his powerful cultivation power to resist the forbidden power, but in the next moment, Li Hao's figure was still shaken away. Li Hao's brows suddenly frowned again, and a sharp look flashed in his eyes. He didn't expect that the forbidden power was so strong that he couldn't break it with his current cultivation power. It's interesting. But soon, a curve appeared at the corner of Li Hao's mouth. In this case, we can only use the formation to break the formation. Li Hao murmured, but he had already made a decision in his heart. If it were in the past, Li Hao would not have the confidence to break this restriction, but at this moment, Li Hao is still full of confidence in it. Because Li Hao is also a master of formations, and he has already obtained the mastery of formations rewarded by the system before achieving the goal of becoming a god. Restriction, that is, formation. As Li Hao's voice fell, another huge force of cultivation suddenly began to circulate on Li Hao's body. An invisible force was instantly released from Li Hao's body. It was majestic. With the power of his soul, Li Hao's consciousness spread out, sensing everything around him. Several more jade needles appeared in Li Hao's hand. All 9 Tianqian needles were taken out by Li Hao at this moment. Go! Li Hao shouted coldly again. The 9 Tianqian needles in his hand immediately flew away, and were continuously moved in the void as they were attracted by Li Hao's spiritual power. Li Hao's palm also moved continuously and began to form seals. Swish swish swish. Li Hao's body was suddenly filled with bright sword light, as if countless small swords were swiping in the void, directly turning into a huge sword array with Ling Ran's momentum. Li Hao didn't have a magic weapon, a small sword, so he could only use the jade needle as a sword, and directly arranged a sword array at this moment. The sword array is soaring, and the sword energy is soaring. Immediately, under Li Hao's finger, they directly penetrated the space, condensed in one place, and headed forward. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 365. Li Hao used the 9 heavenly profound needles as a sword to set up a small sword formation. Although the sword formation was small, it was full of shocking power. This was also one of the most powerful offensive and defensive formations that Li Hao could display at this moment. Under Li Hao's guidance, the sword formation went directly towards the wooden door in front, breaking the formation with the formation. Boom! The next moment, endless sword light flashed across the space and landed directly on the door. Suddenly, there was a bright spiritual light flashing on the door, and the restriction reappeared. Chi chi chi. However, this time, the restriction under Li Hao's sword formation made an incomparable vibration, and several harsh sounds suddenly resounded, as if the entire space was cut apart. Bang! At this moment, the invisible wall was penetrated by countless sword energy, and then it broke apart with a bang. This showed that the restriction on the spiritual medicine garden was broken by Li Hao. In front, we can finally see the situation in the spiritual medicine garden. Hiss! Li Hao couldn't help but take a breath of cold air when he saw the scene in the spiritual medicine garden, and he was very excited. Spiritual medicine. There are spiritual medicines everywhere. There are all kinds of spiritual medicines, hundreds or even thousands of years old, so dense that they are simply countless. Li Hao was completely shocked. The whole person seemed a little small in front of these spiritual medicines, just because these spiritual medicines are so tall and big. It's rich. Li Hao said excitedly as he looked at this scene. The next moment, Li Hao directly collected all the spiritual medicines in these spiritual medicine gardens. If he didn't have the system world, Li Hao really didn't know how to take them away. Those storage rings certainly couldn't hold them. But now, Li Hao, who has the system world, can just throw these spiritual medicines into the system world, without worrying about the space problem at all. Li Hao began to collect them recklessly, using the power of his cultivation to roll up one spiritual medicine after another and put them into the system. Even the thunder frog was excited at this moment, constantly extending its long tongue, rolling up the spiritual medicine and throwing it into its mouth. It was so excited and happy. Just as Li Hao began to collect the spiritual medicine in the spiritual medicine garden frantically. In the back, some cultivators also appeared and came to the place where Li Hao had just subdued the thunder frog and the two-headed python. And these cultivators came in after Li Hao and his companions. Look there. What is that? Oh my God, that's the body of an earth rhinoceros. Demon King. It's definitely a Demon King. And it was killed not long ago. Some cultivators suddenly made a shocking sound, and their eyes were looking closely in one direction. On the ground there was a corpse of a demon beast, which was very large, and it was a corpse of an earth rhinoceros. From the fresh blood on the earth rhino, it can be seen that the earth rhino was killed not long ago. Moreover, even though it was killed, the earth rhino still exuded a powerful aura, which shocked the cultivators again. This was clearly a demon beast of the Demon King level. Who killed it? It must have been killed by a master. I wonder which one. Many cultivators had a look of surprise on their faces. But at this time, a Jindan cultivator suddenly came to the body of the earth rhino, and then slashed at its belly with a sword. The next moment, the body of the earth rhino was directly broken. A deep red bead slid out, and there was not even a drop of blood on the bead, and it exuded an extremely rich blood power. Is that a demon pill? There's a demon pill. Damn, this demon pill is mine. That guy, give me this demon pill. Suddenly, the cultivators around saw the scene and were shocked again. This deep red bead is clearly the inner pill of the demon beast of the earth rhinoceros, abbreviated as demon pill. The demon pill is the essence of the demon beast's cultivation, containing extremely huge power. Not only can the power in it be directly refined to strengthen one's own cultivation, but it can also be used as a material for alchemy, and can even be inlaid on magic tools. In short, the demon pill is also a rare good thing. Boom boom boom. In an instant, a series of powerful cultivation auras burst out from the bodies of these cultivators. Bang bang bang. When these cultivators saw this demon pill, they couldn't hold back and started to fight for it directly. The powerful and fierce offensive continued to collide. No matter who killed this earth rhino, this body belongs to me. Who the hell do you think you are? This body belongs to me. Li Hao certainly didn't expect that the earth rhino he killed casually would cause the cultivators behind him to scramble for it. In fact, it was Li Hao's negligence. Li Hao didn't even think about the demon pill in the body of this earth rhino. At the same time, in other areas of this secret realm, there were also cultivators slowly moving forward, cautiously. They had to be careful, because there were actually quite a few monsters in this secret realm, and the worst ones were all at the level of monster kings, and even some cultivators became food for those monsters. Of course, there were dangers, but there were also opportunities. There were still quite a few lucky cultivators who encountered some spiritual medicines with a long history, and the harvest was not small. What's more, some fragments of magic tools were found on the ground. At this moment, in a ruined hall, an amazing battle broke out. Hua Taekong, I saw that elixir first. It's mine. Qiu Xingyun burst out with a strong power of cultivation, and said coldly to Huataekong. Is the one you saw first yours? Then I also said that I saw the entire secret realm first. This secret realm is also mine. Opposite Qiu Xingyun, Huataekong was full of momentum, but he was holding a jade bottle in his hand, and said coldly to Qiu Xingyun. The jade bottle actually contained the extremely rare De Huan Dan. De Huan Dan, that is an extremely powerful healing elixir. It can even turn bones into flesh and regenerate blood. As long as there is a breath, no matter how serious the injury is, it can be recovered in a very short time. The two people rushed here almost at the same time. When they appeared, they were outside this hall, and they were with many cultivators. When they came in, they saw this bottle of elixir, and then they started to fight for it directly. If you want elixir, just take action. It depends on whether you have the ability. Huataekong said to Qiu Xingyun again. Forget it. It's just a bottle of elixir. People deliberately left it. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 366. Qiu Xingyun did not make a move, and said coldly to Huataekong. Forget it, it's just a bottle of elixir. Someone left it on purpose. Huataekong heard Qiu Xingyun's words, and a strange color flashed in his eyes again. Indeed, this bottle of elixir was left by someone else on purpose. With their cultivation and perception, they could naturally detect it. There were actually many places on the many wooden shelves in this hall that had some traces of being moved. Obviously, those positions should have been placed with jade bottles before. Even if the traces were not very obvious, they could not escape the perception of the two. But there was only such a bottle of elixir left, and the purpose was self-evident, obviously to make them fight for it. If they really fought fiercely because of this elixir, they just fell into the trap of the other party. It would definitely take time to fight for this elixir. And who knows what good things are ahead. If they missed other opportunities because of this, wouldn't it be a loss? Huataekong and Qiu Xingyun are both masters who have lived for many years. Their minds are naturally very delicate and they have thought of these things. So, the two did not fight because of the elixir in the jade bottle. The next moment, the two of them passed through the hall and headed forward. At the same time, in front of the two, there was a white figure, moving forward quickly, heading directly in a direction ahead. In that direction, it was faintly seen that there was a tall mountain. The mountain was covered with snow, but it seemed like the center of the entire secret realm. The white figure was Mo Bai. At this moment, a bright smile appeared on Mo Bai's face. A lot of gains. Just a moment ago, Mo Bai's body appeared directly outside the hall. Although there were some restrictions on the hall, these restrictions had become extremely weak with the passage of time, and were directly blasted open by Mo Bai with powerful means. Then, Mo Bai entered the hall directly, and then she was excited to see the many jade bottles placed in the hall. She opened a jade bottle at random, and there were many elixirs in it, healing, improving cultivation, strengthening the soul, etc., all kinds of elixirs with various effects, basically everything. Mo Bai was immediately excited, and then directly put the elixirs into the storage bag, leaving only one bottle of elixirs, wanting the people behind to fight for it. That's the monument of the goddess, right? Master, I will definitely complete the task. Mo Bai looked at the snow-capped mountain and muttered again, with a firmness in her eyes. The ultimate purpose of Mo Bai's entry this time was actually on that mountain. The next moment, Mo Bai accelerated again and headed towards the mountain, which was the center of this secret realm. In this secret realm, in another direction, Zhao Tianchen walked out of a hall with a faint smile on his face. Zhao Tianqian's storage bag was already filled with many magic tools, and there were even several powerful spiritual tools. Zhao Tianqian took a lot of effort to suppress the spiritual tools and then collected them in the storage bag. The name of this hall is the Artifact Hall, which is obviously a place where magic tools were stored in the past. When Zhao Tianqian collected these magic tools, many cultivators came here, but Zhao Tianqian relied on his powerful cultivation power to suppress all those cultivators, and then continued to move forward with a storage bag full of magic tools in his arms. At this time, Li Hao had already collected all the spiritual medicines in the spiritual medicine garden into the system world. Li Hao also felt that there were many cultivators behind him coming towards him. However, just when Li Hao was about to leave the spiritual medicine garden and move forward, suddenly, around Li Hao's body, there was a brilliant spiritual light that shone involuntarily. Li Hao couldn't help but let out a surprised sound. This spiritual light was not the power of his cultivation, but a strange power wrapped around his body. This strange power was clearly the power of space. It was strange. How could the power of space suddenly appear on his body? Was it going to send him out directly? He hadn't explored this secret realm yet. Li Hao was speechless, and was even more surprised to find that this power of space seemed to have existed in his body before, but it was stimulated by the invisible power again at this moment. Moreover, Li Hao couldn't stop it at all, and could only watch this power of space wrap his body and then disappear with his body. Li Hao only felt a sudden flash in front of his eyes, as if he was traveling in the void, like half a while, and it seemed like just a moment. But when the scene in front of Li Hao became clear again, Li Hao was shocked to find that he appeared in front of a pavilion again. Gongfa Pavilion. On this pavilion, there were 3 elegant words, flying dragons and phoenixes, and they seemed to contain a powerful Taoist meaning. At this moment, many cultivators appeared around, looking at this pavilion with excitement in their eyes. The Gongfa Hall. This is where the Gongfa is stored. It is said that there are 4 major areas in the Yaokai secret realm. Everyone will be teleported to one area at a time. I was actually teleported to this Gongfa Hall. That's great. It is said that there are powerful Taoist methods stored in this Gongfa Pavilion. There are 7 floors in total. The higher the level, the more powerful the Taoist methods are. Shocking voices came from the mouths of these cultivators, including some cultivators who knew about the existence of this Gongfa Pavilion. Many people were shocked when they heard these words from the monks. Boom boom boom. A powerful aura of cultivation burst out from the figures one after another, and they rushed directly into this Gongfa Pavilion. This Gongfa Pavilion is their opportunity. When Li Hao heard the words of the cultivator just now, his heart was also shocked. There are 4 major areas in the Yaokai secret realm. Li Hao knew this from the memories of the Thunder Frog and the 2-headed python. The 4 major areas are the Shendan Hall, the Spiritual Medicine Garden, the Artifact Hall, and the Gongfa Pavilion in front of him. However, what surprised Li Hao was that it was said that every person who came in could only enter one area. However, at this moment, Li Hao actually came to this Gongfa Pavilion from Baiko Garden, which surprised Li Hao. Is it because I have 2 secret keys? Li Hao suddenly thought of it again. Most likely it was like this. It seems that getting 2 secret keys is still different from other people, Li Hao thought so in his heart. The next moment, Li Hao also went directly to the Gongfa Pavilion. Buzz. Li Hao stepped directly into this Gongfa Pavilion, as if passing through a ripple. Obviously, there are also restrictions in this Gongfa Pavilion. The surroundings, as if in another space, are surrounded by a starry sky, and in the middle, there are meteor-like light groups flying everywhere. These light balls were moving very fast, and they kept changing positions, sometimes fast and sometimes slow. Some cultivators used their cultivation power to capture these light balls, and actually captured one of them. Then everyone saw that the captured light ball suddenly exploded, and then it seemed to turn into a spiritual power and entered the body of the cultivator again. Ah! It's Taoism. I got a Xian level Taoism. The cultivator who captured the light ball immediately made an extremely excited voice. From the moment he captured the light ball, a message directly flowed into his body, and this message turned out to be a powerful Xian level Taoism. You know, Taoism also has levels, the highest level of heaven and earth, the second highest level of earth, the third level of Xian, and the lowest level of Huang. On the mainland, the Taoism that exists today is basically the lowest level of Huang, and some cultivators have never learned any Taoism at all. Even in the immortal sects like Taiwa Sword Sect and Kunlun Immortal Sect, most of them are yellow level Taoism, and Xian level ones are very rare. At this moment, any cultivator here captured a light ball and actually obtained a Xian level Taoism. How amazing it is! As the cultivator obtained this Xian level Taoism, a space force instantly wrapped the cultivator and sent him out. Xian level Taoism. Oh my god, he actually got Xian level Taoism. Are all these light balls Taoism? Grab them quickly. That light ball is mine. No one can grab it from me. Suddenly, exclamations rang out again. I saw that the cultivators were using their cultivation power and scrambled for those light balls. There were many of them, but they were also limited. If you captured one, there would be one less. It's really a Xian level Dao. I also got a Xian level Dao. Why am I Huang level? Am I ugly? I'm also Huang level, this is unscientific. As more and more cultivators captured these light balls, voices suddenly rang out. Some were happy and some were sad. Some also got Xian level Dao, while others got the worst Huang level Dao. Obviously, not all the light balls on this level contain Xian level Dao. But without exception, when these cultivators obtained the light balls, their bodies were sent out by an invisible force of space. Boom boom boom. Powerful cultivation auras were released by these cultivators one after another. Look over there. There is a staircase. Does that lead to the second floor? At this time, another cultivator exclaimed. I saw a purple staircase in the center. It went up like a ladder in the starry sky, connecting to another space. Obviously, this staircase should lead to the second floor of the Gongfa Pavilion. Immediately, some cultivators stopped fighting for the light balls and went to the staircase in the center of the pavilion. It is said that there are 7 floors in the Gongfa Pavilion. Each floor contains Taoism, and the higher you go, the more powerful the Taoism is. At this moment, these people couldn't help themselves when they saw the staircase. Although the first floor is basically yellow level, there are also Xian level ones. What about the second floor? What about the third floor? What about the fourth floor? Or even the 7th floor? What level of Taoism is hidden there? Some people couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Could it be that there are heaven-level Taoism in the floors above, or even Taoism that surpasses heaven-level Taoism? Many people were shocked. Boom. Immediately, another cultivator went to the stairs, wanting to climb directly to the second floor through the stairs. The next moment, a cultivator stepped directly on the stairs. Bang. However, at this moment, everyone was shocked to see that the body of the cultivator who had just stepped on was inexplicably shaken away. Puff. Immediately, the cultivator spurted out a mouthful of blood, his eyes were filled with deep horror, and his body was directly hit hard. What's going on? What's going on? Suddenly, the monks around saw the scene and stopped in their tracks, with doubts in their eyes. They saw that the monk who was blown away was a monk in the early stage of foundation building. Could it be that his cultivation was too poor? The next moment, another monk stood on the stairs. Bang! An invisible force descended again in an instant, and as expected, this monk was exactly the same as the monk just now, and was also blown away, with blood spurting out of his mouth, and this monk who was blown away was also a monk in the early stage of foundation building. Let me try. Seeing this scene, another monk shouted and stood up. Boom. A powerful cultivation aura was released from the body of this monk, which was much stronger than the two monks in the early stage of foundation building just now, and he was like a monk in the late stage of foundation building. The next moment, this monk also stepped directly onto the stairs again. In an instant, the cultivator's face suddenly became extremely horrified. It seemed that a powerful force of pressure descended on him from the heaven and earth, and wanted to blow him off the stairs. The spiritual light flowed on the cultivator's body, and the powerful power of cultivation resisted the pressure. Finally, the cultivator stood firmly on the stairs and was not blown away. He withstood the pressure. This scene fell into the eyes of other people, and they couldn't help but condense again. Sure enough, the two cultivators just now were because their cultivation was a little weak, and the stairs leading to the second floor were not so easy to climb. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tien Taido. Chapter 367. This late foundation building cultivator exerted all his strength, and finally withstood the powerful pressure and stood on the stairs. Sure enough, the two cultivators who were blown away before were a little bit inferior in cultivation. The next moment, everyone saw this late foundation building cultivator stepping up the stairs step by step. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4. With every step, there was a powerful pressure on this cultivator, and it was getting stronger and stronger. And the stairs in front of him had 9 steps. The cultivator's face was already red, and he was under an extremely huge pressure, and he was even about to reach his limit. However, he had already stepped up. How could he give up? There must be better and higher grade Taoism in the second level. The next moment, this cultivator was desperate again, using all his strength to continue to step up the stairs. However, just as this cultivator took a step and stepped towards the 5th step, a more powerful pressure suddenly descended on him in the entire void. Bang! Puff! In an instant, this cultivator directly spit out a large mouthful of blood, and could no longer bear this pressure, and his body was directly blown away. The whole person fell to the ground on the first floor in a mess. His face was extremely pale, and filled with endless horror. The surrounding cultivators saw this scene, frowned, and their hearts sank. Can't even climb to the late stage of foundation building? This is only the 2nd floor. How can this be? Let me try. There was a commotion, but some cultivators did not believe this evil, and also burst out with their cultivation power, heading towards the stairs in front. Bang bang bang. Similarly, some cultivators were blown away, but there were also cultivators standing on the stairs. There were also people who were in the late stage of foundation building, who were blown away after climbing up the 6th step. Li Hao also set his sights on the stairs at this moment. There were 7 or 8 figures climbing up the stairs at this moment, but the cultivation emanating from these figures was stronger than that of the previous ones. These people were all strong people in the Jindan realm. The powerful power of the cultivators emanated from these cultivators, and they stepped up step by step. But at this moment, Li Hao looked at the figure on the stairs and couldn't help but let out a surprised sound. Walking in the front was a young man with a long sword on his back. He looked to be in his 20s and exuded a sense of pride. From the appearance and dress of this young man, it can be known that this guy is most likely from the Tewa sword section. The aura of cultivation released from his body is not weak at all. He is a cultivator in the early stage of the Jindan realm. He is like a sharp sword, and there is a strong sword intent emanating from his body. Ye Wuhan. Li Hao looked at the young man, but a strange color flashed in his eyes. Isn't this young man Ye Wuhan, the prodigy of Tewa sword sect? The guy who was forcibly enslaved by himself. This guy is actually here. Moreover, the cultivation aura of Ye Wulhan is clearly the early stage of Jindan realm. Li Hao remembered that not long ago, this guy was still in the late stage of foundation building. It seems that this guy also encountered an opportunity and broke through the realm of cultivation. Ye Wulhan did not notice the appearance of Li Hao. He took one step at a time and soon stepped on the 9th step in the eyes of everyone. Then, his figure disappeared directly. Got up. That guy climbed up. Only Jindan realm strongmen can go up. Oh my god. Dot. The cultivators below saw the scene and exclaimed again. Someone climbed up. As the young man climbed up the second floor, another figure stepped onto the 9th step, and then disappeared. All of these people, without exception, were powerful people in the Jindan realm, and some of them were even in the middle or late Jindan realm. Li Hao looked at this scene, but his expression did not fluctuate too much. Then, Li Hao's figure instantly went to the stairs. The next moment, Li Hao's figure landed on the stairs. Boom! A strong pressure fell directly on Li Hao. A strong power of cultivation suddenly began to flow on Li Hao's body, and spiritual power was flowing around Li Hao's body. Li Hao felt his whole body sink, but Li Hao's figure remained motionless. Li Hao took a step directly and stepped upwards. First step, second step, third step, fourth step. Li Hao went straight up and soon reached the 9th step. The scene in front of Li Hao changed, and he had already arrived at the second floor of this Gongfa pavilion. There were already quite a few cultivators on the second floor, all of them were powerful Jindan realm cultivators. In the entire space, there were also some light balls constantly shuttling back and forth, constantly changing positions. Surprisingly, Li Hao saw that none of these cultivators tried to capture those light balls, but instead headed towards the stairs in front, and some even stepped on the stairs. That staircase clearly led to the higher third floor. These cultivators were obviously not satisfied with the Taoism in the second level and wanted to continue to climb up and enter the third level. The young man Ye Wulhan who was carrying a long sword was also standing on the stairs. The stairs were still 9 steps, but the young man with the long sword was standing on the stairs with a very solemn expression and every step was very slow. When Ye Wulhan climbed the 6th step, there was another middle-aged cultivator who passed Ye Wulhan and climbed to the 9th step in one fell swoop, and then disappeared. Someone else climbed up. The middle-aged cultivator just now was a strong man in the middle stage of the Jijidan realm. Ah! Seeing this scene, Ye Wulhan shouted again, and a sharp aura burst out from his body, and suddenly stepped upward again. However, the next moment, a huge pressure instantly descended on Ye Wulhan again. Bang! A dull sound sounded, and Li Hao saw that Ye Wulhan's body was blown away by an invisible force. Ye Wulhan, who was in the early stage of Jindan, had already reached the 7th step of this ladder, and was only 2 steps away from entering the 3rd level, but these 2 steps were like a gap against the sky, which could not be crossed. Ye Wulhan's face was bleak, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness, but he was helpless. Alas! Seeing that several cultivators in the middle and late stages of Jindan had climbed up and entered the 3rd level, Ye Wulhan could only sigh endlessly. Of course, there were also some cultivators who had the same fate as Ye Wulhan, who were stopped on this ladder, and then had no choice but to choose to capture the light ball on the 2nd level and obtain the Xian level Taoism. Ye Wulhan looked at this scene, but he was still unwilling in his heart, he was just a little short. Just when Ye Wulhan wanted to give up and choose the light ball on the 2nd level, a figure stood beside Ye Wulhan. Want to go up? A voice came from beside him. That's nonsense, isn't it? Master. Ye Wulhan was depressed, and suddenly heard this voice, blurting out, but before he could finish his words, he saw the appearance of the person beside him. Isn't the person standing beside him the guy who forced him to sign a contract? Before, outside the secret realm, Ye Wulhan hid in a corner, but he saw this guy fighting against their sect master PoortoRich without losing. If you want to go up, follow me. Li Hao said lightly, and then went to the stairs. Dong. A crisp sound rang out, and Li Hao's figure had already landed on the first step. In an instant, there was an extremely powerful pressure that was instantly generated, and it descended directly on Li Hao. Li Hao's body, instantly, there was a violent cultivation power that was instantly generated, and it rose to the sky. Boom. This pressure was much stronger than the pressure on the first step. However, Li Hao remained calm and proudly stood on the stairs. How can this little pressure stop me? Li Hao murmured, his voice full of strong confidence. The next moment, Li Hao took another step and stepped on the second step. And behind him, Ye Wuhan saw this scene, and his eyes suddenly became excited. Ye Wuhan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and then circulated the power of cultivation again, stepped on the first step again, and followed Li Hao. At this moment, although there was still pressure from the sky falling on him, Ye Wuhan was shocked and surprised to find that this pressure had become insignificant. There was an invisible force covering him and bearing this pressure. Ye Wuhan looked at the figure in front of him, but he couldn't help but have a wave of fluctuations in his heart. The reason for this was naturally that the figure in front of him helped him bear the pressure. At this moment, the pressure on Li Hao became stronger, causing Li Hao's brows to slightly tighten, but his eyes were firm, revealing a sense of rebelliousness. Boom! Li Hao took another step directly and stepped on the third step. No matter how strong the pressure was, it could not stop Li Hao's steps. Hiss! It's him! The new Grandmaster! There were many Jindan strongmen around who saw the scene and were really shocked, and they immediately exclaimed. The next moment, they were shocked to see that this new Grandmaster actually disappeared on the ninth step with someone. When Li Hao and Ye Wuhan appeared again, the scene in front of them had become a little different. The whole space still seemed to be in the starry sky, but the light groups on the sky had become very rare, and each light group was very large, and its light was getting brighter. This is the third floor of the Gongfa Pavilion. There are very few cultivators in the third level, less than 10 of them, and they are either in the middle or late Jindan stage. When Li Hao and Ye Wuhan appeared here, many people were surprised and shocked. Isn't this young man the newly promoted Grandmaster? These people also saw the battle between Li Hao and Hua Taikong outside the gate of the secret realm. Greetings to Grandmaster Li. Greetings to Grandmaster Li. Soon, these Jindan realm cultivators clasped their fists and bowed to Li Hao. Li Hao nodded slightly, but looked at Ye Wuhan beside him again. Choose one here. Li Hao said directly to Ye Wuhan. He was not sure if he could reach the fourth floor with Ye Wuhan, and Li Hao did not want to try. The Taoism of the third floor should be very good for Ye Wuhan. Yeah. Ye Wuhan nodded directly. Li Hao brought him to the third floor, and he was very grateful. Immediately, Ye Wuhan activated the power of cultivation to capture the light ball moving in the void. Not long after, a light ball was captured by Ye Wuhan. Bang! Then, the ball of light exploded again, and then turned into a spiritual light that directly entered Ye Wuhan's body. Suddenly, a huge amount of information directly poured into Ye Wuhan's mind, causing Ye Wuhan to be shocked. It's a ground-level Taoism. Ye Wuhan said to Li Hao excitedly, and there was an uncontrollable excitement in his voice. It turned out to be a ground-level Taoism. There are not many Taoisms of this level. Even in the immortal section there are only a few. And at this moment, he actually obtained a ground-level Taoism, which is simply too good. Although the Taoism Ye Wuhan obtained was at the bottom of the ground level, it was a genuine ground level, and it was only on the third floor of this Gongfa Pavilion at this moment. When Ye Wuhan finished saying this, Ye Wuhan's body was wrapped by an invisible force again, and then he disappeared directly in this space. Obviously, it was transmitted out. What a humming good luck! It's actually a ground level method. The person in front just got the Xian level 1. When the cultivators around heard Ye Wuhan's excited voice, they couldn't help but be shocked again, and immediately there was another uproar. Just before, a cultivator in the middle stage of the Jindan realm did not climb the stairs, and as a second choice, he casually captured a ball of light on the third floor, but he only got a Xian level method. When Ye Wuhan was teleported out, Li Hao set his sights on the stairs in the middle of the 3 floors. There, it leads to the 4th floor. This Gongfu pavilion has a full 7 floors, and Li Hao is naturally not satisfied with this small 3rd floor. Li Hao didn't hesitate at all, and went straight to the stairs again. The next moment, Li Hao's figure stood steadily on the stairs again. Boom! In an instant, the wind and clouds in the sky changed color, and at this moment, an extremely powerful pressure descended on Li Hao. The pressure was even stronger than the previous ones, causing Li Hao's body to sink again. Li Hao's eyes were shining with brilliance, and he still said proudly, "How can this little pressure stop me?" The same words, but with the same confidence. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 368. As Li Hao's voice fell, an unparalleled momentum was instantly released from Li Hao's body. The momentum was earth-shattering, making Li Hao look extremely majestic. The next moment, those powerful people in the Dan formation realm looked at Li Hao in shock, with surprise in their eyes. Li Hao's body was filled with incomparable pride, and his eyes also shone with brilliance. Li Hao suddenly stepped towards the top of the stairs again. Boom! Li Hao's footsteps made a dull sound as he stepped on the stairs. Everyone could see that on Li Hao's body, there was a majestic spiritual light that was constantly flowing and rising, as if he was resisting that powerful pressure. Li Hao's footsteps directly stepped on the second step, but Li Hao's footsteps did not pause at all. Li Hao took another step directly and stepped upward. 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level. Soon, Li Hao climbed to the 9th level amidst everyone's shocked expressions. He went up. Oh my God! Someone has climbed to the 4th floor again. As expected of a Grandmaster. It looks like he hasn't even used his full strength yet. When Li Hao's figure disappeared above the 9th level, shocking sounds suddenly came from the mouths of these powerful people in the Dan formation realm. Li Hao's eyes flashed, and he appeared in another space. And this is the 4th floor of the Kung Fu Pavilion. In this 4th level, there are only 2 figures, a middle-aged man and an old man, but there is a powerful aura of cultivation in their bodies. These 2 people are clearly strong men in the late stage of the Dan formation realm. At this moment, the 2 of them were sitting cross-legged, as if they were recovering their physical strength. They had just climbed the 3rd level of stairs to the 4th level. They also spent a lot of effort in cultivation. There are also light groups in this space, but the number is very small, only a dozen or so. However, the 2 of them did not capture these light groups immediately. They still had some thoughts about the 5th layer. At this moment, the 2 of them saw a figure appearing in front of them, and their expressions were shocked again. It's him. When the middle-aged man saw Li Hao, his heart froze, and he actually recognized Li Hao. He had also seen Li Hao's battle with the master in front of the secret realm gate before, and knew that the young man in front of him was a master. However, the old man next to him saw Li Hao for the first time. The old man was a casual cultivator who had been practicing in a treasured land in Dongfang. When he rushed to the secret realm gate, the secret realm gate had already been opened. And then the old man rushed in here without hesitation and appeared directly in front of the Kung Fu Pavilion. Then, the old man entered here directly, and relied on his strong cultivation strength to climb all the way to the 4th floor. Huh? There's actually another person here. Boy, are you also at the late stage of the Dan formation realm? Wu Chang looked at Li Hao and asked in surprise. Wu Chang was the name of this old man. The guy in front of him is so young. He must be extraordinary to be able to get here. He must be a monster. But at this moment, he couldn't see through the other person's cultivation, so he immediately asked Li Hao again. Li Hao glanced at the old man indifferently and did not answer. Instead, he lowered his gaze to the stairs leading to the 5th floor, and then slowly moved towards the location of the stairs. When Wu Chang saw Li Hao's appearance, he frowned and said to Li Hao in a deep voice, "Boy, what do I want to ask you? How old are you? Are you at the late stage of the Dan formation realm?" When Li Hao heard what Wu Chang said, he was too lazy to pay attention to it, but the other party actually persisted. Li Hao looked at the old man and said calmly, "So what if it is? So what if it's not?" Li Hao's voice fell into Wu Chang's ears, causing Wu Chang's expression to change, but he immediately started laughing again. "Ha ha! You are quite proud? If so, you are qualified to be my apprentice," Wu Chang said directly again. But when Li Hao heard what the other party said, he couldn't help being stunned again. "What? Are you qualified to be his apprentice? How stupid is this? Where does the courage come from?" Next to him, when the middle-aged man heard Wu Chang's words, his eyes widened and he looked at Wu Chang as if he was stupid. He actually wants to accept a Grand Master as his apprentice? Is this looking for death? I have to say that the middle-aged man also admires the courage of this old man. How about it? I can give you time to think about it. I am a monk in the late stage of the Dan formation realm, and will soon become a true master. Not ordinary people can worship me as a teacher, that is, I see you are young, so this level of cultivation and talent are pretty good. At this time, Wu Kang was startled when he saw Li Hao, thinking that Li Hao was hesitating, and immediately said to Li Hao again, his voice filled with incomparable arrogance, "He." However, when Li Hao heard what the other party said, he couldn't help laughing again and shook his head slightly. "Why are you laughing?" Wu Chang's face suddenly condensed and he asked Li Hao. "You look like a retard when you laugh at me." Li Hao said lightly, "You are not qualified to be my master." Li Hao's voice came out directly again, but his voice was filled with a sense of extreme pride. After saying that, Li Hao went straight to the central staircase again. "What? I am not qualified to be your master? This is ridiculous. Do you know who I am?" When Wu Chang heard what Li Hao said, he was furious and shouted at Li Hao again. A powerful aura was released from his body, and then he slapped Li Hao with one palm. Li Hao frowned slightly, feeling the attack from behind, but his figure still stood proudly in the same place. The next moment, Li Hao slowly turned his head, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. "Get out!" Li Hao shouted angrily. The word "get out" came out of his mouth, but it was like a thunder, resounding between the whole world. In an instant, Wu Chang's face suddenly showed horror, and he felt a majestic force coming down. That power was simply irresistible. The aura released by the other party at this moment made Wu Chang feel like he was struck by lightning, and he fell to the bottom of the valley. This is a master. How is it possible? Wu Chang's eyes were filled with deep shock, and he couldn't believe what he saw. The other party was actually a master. He actually wanted to accept a master as his apprentice? What a funny thing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 369. Wu Chang felt deep shock in his heart, and felt how funny the scene was. And he is just an idiot. He actually wants to accept a strong master as his disciple. What is this, if not an idiot? Bang. The next moment, Li Hao's word "go" came out, as if his words were spoken, with a power that shook the heavens and the earth. Immediately afterwards, Wu Chang spurted out a mouthful of blood, and flew backwards, falling heavily to the distance, in a state of embarrassment. Only you want to accept me as your disciple? Are you qualified? Li Hao still stood proudly, but he looked at Wu Chang coldly and said coldly. Heartbreaking. When Wu Chang heard Li Hao's words, he spat out another mouthful of blood, and his face became extremely pale. Not far away, the middle-aged man looked at the scene in front of him and was shocked in his heart. When he looked at Li Hao again, his expression showed more awe for the strong. Is this a powerful master? He is really too powerful. Just a voice was enough to send this late-stage pill-forming monk like him flying and severely injuring him. Li Hao suppressed this guy with one word, and his expression did not change much. This was a simple lesson to the other party. Li Hao looked at the stairs ahead again. There is the place leading to the 5th floor. Buzz. The next moment, Li Hao stepped directly on the stairs without saying a word. When Li Hao stepped on this ladder, the whole world seemed to tremble. At this moment, Li Hao felt as if the sky was being pressed down at this moment, and an unparalleled majestic force fell directly on his body. This pressure was many times stronger than the previous steps. It was so powerful that it made Li Hao's body tremble. Li Hao felt as if his body was about to explode. All the spiritual power of cultivation in his body had already been released. The spiritual power of spiritual transformation in the realm of gods was constantly flowing through his body, and he resisted this power. Pressure. Faintly, one could even see that the pressure on Li Hao's body was so strong that it was about to solidify. Li Hao's expression became a little solemn. Boom. Li Hao's crazy maintenance and output of cultivation power withstood this powerful pressure. How can this coercion stop me? Although strong pressure came on Li Hao's body, trying to knock Li Hao off the stairs, Li Hao raised his head again, looked upward, and shouted loudly, with a loud voice. There is an unstoppable determination in it. Boom. Li Hao's cultivation had reached its peak, and a brilliant sword intent arose. Boom. Li Hao stepped forward and stepped on the 2nd level again. Buzz. At this moment, the whole world trembled again. It can be seen that on Li Hao's body, there are two powerful forces that are constantly colliding. It is Li Hao's physical strength and the pressure that has almost condensed into substance. Boom. Another dull sound resounded. Li Hao took another step forward. Li Hao's face was flushed, but his eyes were firm, taking one step after another, unstoppable. This time, Li Hao walked very slowly, and it took him nearly a quarter of an hour to reach the 9th level. Immediately, Li Hao's figure disappeared directly and entered the 5th level. Going up. His is so powerful. At this moment, when the middle-aged man on the 4th floor saw this scene, his heart was filled with panic, and he even couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. The next moment, the middle-aged man also plucked up the courage to head towards the stairs. He wanted to try. But when the middle-aged man's body just stood on the stairs, a majestic power of heaven and earth fell on his body instantly. Immediately, the middle-aged man couldn't bear the pressure and spit out a mouthful of blood, and his body was knocked away again. The moment when Li Hao climbed up the 4th level of stairs and entered the 5th level of the Kung Fu Pavilion. Buzz buzz. Above the entire Kung Fu Pavilion, there was actually a bright light shining. This bright light directly enveloped the entire 5 floors of the Kung Fu Pavilion and then burst out. At this moment, the powerful light on the Kung Fu Pavilion went directly in all directions, even penetrating the void, allowing some monks in other areas to see it, and they suddenly made a sound of surprise. What's that? What a powerful light! It seems to be coming from that direction. Look over there. Dot. Voices of exclamation suddenly resounded, and many monks from other areas looked in one direction. In that direction, between the misty clouds and mist, there seemed to be a towering attic, straight into the sky. There were 7 floors in the attic, and at this moment, the 5 floors below were all bursting with bright light. It's the Kung Fu Pavilion. Someone has climbed to the 5th floor of the Kung Fu Pavilion. Oh my God, it is said that there are many powerful Taoist techniques stored in that Kung Fu Pavilion. It is said that there is real immortal magic in the 7th level. Who is it? Who is it? Dot. The exclamations continued to sound. The strange phenomenon that appeared in the Gongfa Pavilion at this moment attracted the attention of many people. Many people expressed their doubts and wanted to guess who had climbed to the 5th floor of this Gongfa Pavilion. Gongfa Pavilion, the 5th floor. Li Hao saw that he seemed to be standing in the void, with endless starry sky under his feet. There were several bright and powerful light balls floating in the void in front of him, and they could be counted on one hand, less than 10. However, from these light balls, Li Hao felt an unusual fluctuation. Li Hao had an intuition that these light balls were all storing very powerful Taoism, and it might even be heavenly level. However, Li Hao was still not satisfied with this. Li Hao's side was looking at the stairs leading to the 6th floor again. Since there was still strength left, he would not leave any more strength. Li Hao decided to try his best again. Li Hao did not hesitate at all and went directly to the stairs again. Boom! Step on it. Buzz buzz buzz. The whole world instantly trembled endlessly. Boom! The whole sky seemed to be pressing down on Li Hao, trying to overwhelm him. Ah! Li Hao screamed, releasing all his strength without reservation, and the sword intent was born on his body. But in an instant, the sword intent was shattered. Under the sword intent, there was the power of thunder, which tightly wrapped Li Hao's body. Li Hao fought hard. Boom! Finally, he stepped on the 2nd step again. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 370. Li Hao stepped directly onto the 2nd step. Li Hao's body had reached its limit, but he persisted with his strong will. Dong dong dong. Every time Li Hao took a step, the stairs gave off endless tremors. At this moment, Li Hao stood in the starry sky, as if he was stepping on the sky. With every step, Li Hao endured endless pressure. Li Hao had already exerted his physical strength to the extreme, enduring this pressure. With every step Li Hao took, the pressure became stronger and stronger, but Li Hao's eyes were full of determination. Even though his body was in great pain and seemed to be about to explode, Li Hao's expression remained unchanged. Li Hao could feel the pain that was definitely caused by his body reaching its limit and on the verge of exploding. Li Hao slowly climbed upwards, his face flushed, and his forehead was filled with beads of sweat. As time slowly passed, Li Hao finally climbed higher and higher. Buzz! But at a certain moment, Li Hao was pleasantly surprised to find that his physical strength became stronger under this continuous strong pressure. A strong force was stimulated in every piece of flesh, meridians, and even bones. Boom! Li Hao's aura suddenly shook again, and became stronger. A bright light suddenly burst out from Li Hao's eyes. The physical body that had reached its limit seemed to break through the limit at this moment and became stronger. Li Hao's physical potential was completely stimulated under this heavy pressure. Li Hao could even clearly feel that even the spiritual power in his body became more and more condensed at this moment. As the physical body broke through the limit and became stronger, Li Hao suddenly felt that his body was relaxed. The pressure seemed to have become weaker and not as strong as before. In fact, it was not. It was not that the pressure was weaker, but that Li Hao became stronger. Li Hao's heart was suddenly filled with joy, and a bright smile appeared on his face. He took another step and climbed upwards. At this moment, Li Hao had already reached the 8th step. Entering the 6th floor, only the last step was left. Li Hao raised his foot again and stepped forward. At this moment, it seemed that the entire sky was blocking Li Hao, preventing him from climbing up. Li Hao's eyes were full of brilliance, and he roared directly. If the sky wants to stop me, I will open the sky. Then, an unparalleled sword intent suddenly burst out from Li Hao's body. Suddenly, a huge long sword appeared on Li Hao's body. The long sword was invisible but had substance, releasing the sword intent of Ling Tian. As Li Hao's voice fell, the sword slashed down. A sword slashed out, wanting to open the sky. Opening the sky sword technique. Li Hao directly used the strongest attacking method of Kaishan sword technique, and slashed the entire world in front of him with one sword, vowing to slash a path through the sky. Boom! As Li Hao's Kaishan sword fell, the whole world was shaken, and all the cultivators in the Gongfa pavilion looked up at the sky at this moment. I saw that there was a figure standing on the starry sky, slashing with a sword, splitting the entire sky, and then directly collapsing the sky. Dong! Accompanied by a violent tremor, a dull sound suddenly resounded again. Li Hao's figure finally stood on the 9th step. At this moment, on the 6th floor of the Gongfa pavilion, a brilliant light suddenly shone up and shot towards all directions, making the whole world much brighter. Li Hao's figure also appeared on the 6th floor of the Gongfa pavilion. In front of him were 3 light balls, shining with spiritual light and filled with an extraordinary breath. Li Hao looked at the 3 light balls in front of him, and his heart moved again, but then Li Hao set his sights on the stairs not far ahead. That was the stairs leading to the 7th floor. The next moment, Li Hao's figure went straight up and stepped on that staircase. At the same time, there was another terrifying force in the entire void that directly suppressed Li Hao. Boom! Li Hao's face suddenly changed, as if he saw a supreme figure looking at him at this moment, and then suppressed him with a palm. Under this figure, Li Hao only felt that he was very small. The terrifying might was born in this world in an instant, and that might had exceeded the limit that Li Hao could bear, as if he was not facing a mortal at this moment, but a real immortal god. Bang! Li Hao's footsteps had not yet fallen, and he had been knocked back by the majestic force. There was also a look of shock in Li Hao's eyes. Li Hao's heart suddenly condensed. This 7th floor, with my current cultivation, I can't climb up. Maybe I can try it after breaking through a realm. But at this moment, Li Hao still has self-knowledge. I don't know what kind of Taoism is in the 7th floor. But since I can't climb up, that's fine. Li Hao didn't think much about it. Li Hao looked directly at the 3 light balls in front of him. Choose one of the 3, which one to choose? It seems that it depends on luck. Just when Li Hao didn't know which one to choose among the 3. Buzz! On top of one of the light groups. But suddenly, a big red exclamation point appeared. Seeing this exclamation point appear, Li Hao was stunned. Damn it, can there be a hint here? Li Hao's eyes widened and he said in disbelief. Isn't this the system prompt? What a coincidence that it actually appeared when I needed it. Is the system intentional? Li Hao expressed doubts about this. Without saying anything, Li Hao clicked on the exclamation point and deducted 20,000 yuan. Ding dong, this light group contains a heaven-defying magic. It is a fragment of an immortal magic. Don't miss it when you pass by. Suddenly, the system's voice suddenly resounded in Li Hao's mind. As for Li Hao, when he heard the system's voice, his whole body was suddenly shocked. The remnants of immortal magic? There is actually immortal magic in this light group. Damn it, even if it's a fragment, it's still a fairy tale. Taoism is divided into 4 levels: heaven, earth, Xianhuang, and heaven-level Taoism is the most powerful. Li Hao thought that having heaven-level Taoist magic here would be unparalleled, but he never thought that there would be immortal magic here. The next moment, Li Hao's eyes fell directly on this light group. Whoosh! Without saying a word, Li Hao moved directly towards the light group prompted by the system. In an instant, the light group was captured by Li Hao. Buzz! Li Hao felt that his whole body was shocked. An incomparable power poured into his body, and a huge message entered his mind. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you have obtained the fragment of the Human Emperor Sutra. The Human Emperor Sutra, low-grade immortal techniques, is the first of the 3 Emperor Sutras of high-grade immortal techniques. Click downward arrow to complete it. When this message entered Li Hao's mind, the system's beep suddenly sounded again. Li Hao's whole body was shocked again. It's actually this low-grade immortal technique. The Taoism that Li Hao obtained from this light group was clearly a low-grade immortality. It had surpassed the existence of Taoism and was just a fragment. But what's the big deal? Although it is an incomplete article, the system can be improved directly. So, without any hesitation, Li Hao clicked the downward arrow again and paid the system 40,000 yuan. Ding dong, get the complete Human Emperor Sutra. The system prompt suddenly sounded again, and some more information suddenly poured into Li Hao's mind, which was the entire Human Emperor Sutra. The Human Emperor Sutra is a super powerful fairy method that stimulates the body's hidden energy to gain more powerful power. It can allow monks to have strength beyond their original cultivation level in a short period of time, and even cross-level combat is not a problem. Li Hao suddenly felt happy. This Human Emperor Sutra was really incredible. He could increase his strength in a short time without any side effects. This could definitely be used as his trump card. The system is really awesome, it can even perfect the immortal method. If he had possessed the Human Emperor Sutra before, he might have been able to ascend to the 7th floor. As soon as this idea came to Li Hao's mind, there was another wave of space around his body, and the power of space directly wrapped around his body. Then, Li Hao felt a blur in front of his eyes, and when he appeared again, he was already outside the Kung Fu Pavilion. Ahead, you can see a snow-capped mountain standing on this land. And that place is like the center of the entire secret realm. Suddenly, Li Hao headed directly towards the direction of the mountain. At this moment, the hazy fog around him has dissipated, his vision has become very clear, and there are no restrictions in the space that previously blocked perception. Soon, Li Hao came to the bottom of this mountain. Li Hao was shocked to see that there was actually a palace above the mountain. Is that Asgard? What a white palace! It seems to be made of ice and snow. Then what's inside the palace? Many monks had already arrived around, and they all looked at the palace on the mountain, making endless uproar. They saw that the palace was actually white and crystal clear, and was made of ice and snow. The result is the same. The next moment, these monks also rushed towards the ice and snow palace. Li Hao also activated his cultivation power, and his figure floated directly up, heading towards the ice and snow palace. Li Hao sensed that there were already several powerful auras above. Those auras made Li Hao feel familiar. They should be the powerful masters he had seen outside the secret realm before. Enough, another moment later. Li Hao finally climbed the mountain and stood outside the palace. The entire palace stands on this mountain. Standing here, surrounded by misty clouds and mist, it really feels like the atmosphere of a fairy palace and temple, and it feels like you are at the top and can see all the small mountains. Boom boom boom. But at this moment, a huge roar suddenly resounded in the hall ahead. Li Hao couldn't help but make a sound of surprise. Are there any strong masters fighting? At this moment, in this ice and snow palace, a woman in white stood proudly in front of a crystal coffin, releasing a powerful cultivation force. It was Mo Bai. Opposite Mo Bai, Hua Taekong also stood proudly, exuding an incomparable powerful aura, looking at Mo Bai coldly. Mo Bai, what do you mean? Get out of the way. I want this immortal body. Hua Taekong said to Mo Bai in a stern voice. The immortal body in this coffin is my master's ancestor. I will never let you disturb my master's peace. Mo Bai said in a deep voice, but his voice was full of determination. If that's the case, then don't blame me. As soon as Hua Taekong's words came out, A powerful aura was released instantly, and a shocking sword intent was born from his body. The next moment, Hua Taekong burst out with a majestic aura and blasted directly towards Mo Bai. Mo Bai saw this scene, her beautiful eyes condensed, but her body did not retreat at all. The powerful cultivation of the late stage of the spiritual transformation realm was also released instantly, bursting out with an incomparable momentum and blasting towards Hua Taekong. Boom! Both of them were peak masters of the late stage of the spiritual transformation realm. This move caused a huge sensation, shaking the heaven and earth and making the sky pale. However, just as the two stood there shaking the earth, on the other side, Qiu Xingyun's figure suddenly went towards the coffin again. Mo Bai saw this scene, and instantly pulled himself out of the battle with Hua Taekong, and launched an offensive towards Qiu Xingyun again. A majestic force directly hit Qiu Xingyun, but was directly crushed by Qiu Xingyun. Qiu Xingyun's movements also paused, but Qiu Xingyun quickly activated his strength and went towards Mo Bai again. On the other side, Hua Taekong's offensive also descended again. At this moment, Mo Bai was alone against the attacks of two peak late-stage God transformation realm masters. The next moment, Mo Bai's body was also shaken back, and her clothes were a little messy, looking a little embarrassed. Mo Bai's eyes looked closely at Qiu Xingyun and Hua Taekong. Even if she was powerful, she was no match for two masters who were also in the late stage of God transformation realm. Even so, Mo Bai's eyes still revealed a firmness. In this coffin lay a woman who was also wearing a white dress. She was extremely beautiful, so beautiful that it was suffocating. She looked like she was asleep, but she revealed an extraordinary temperament. This woman must be an immortal. Above the God transformation realm is the real immortal realm. In other words, the woman in the coffin in front of him was an immortal body. If he could get this immortal body, he would have a great chance of finding a way to break through to the immortal realm. Therefore, Hua Taekong and Qiu Xingyun in front of him both wanted to get this immortal body. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 371. The woman lying in the coffin was Mo Bai's master, an ancient strongman who had existed for who knows how many years, and no one knew why she was lying here. But it can be seen that the woman in the coffin is definitely a strong person who has surpassed the transformation of the spirit realm. That is a real fairyland strongman, an immortal. In the coffin is an immortal body. If you can get this immortal body, you may be able to find a way to break through to the fairy realm. As we all know, the Grand Master realm is already the most powerful on the entire continent, and no one has broken through to the real fairy realm for hundreds or thousands of years. But what is certain is that many years ago, there were many fairyland strongmen on this continent. Rumble. Qiu Xingyun also burst out with a powerful offensive, trying to fight for the immortal body. Mo Bai's pretty face also became extremely solemn. At this moment, she was fighting against Qiu Xingyun and Hua Taekong, two great masters, and she was no match for them. However, Mo Bai's eyes were extremely firm, and he still stood in front of the coffin. This immortal body is not something you can have. I advise you to step aside. Sect Master Mo. Qiu Xingyun said coldly to Mo Bai again. He was determined to get this immortal body, and he had been in the late stage of the spiritual transformation realm for many years. If he could get this immortal body, he might be able to take a step closer, and even achieve the realm of the immortal Dao. By then, he would be invincible on the entire continent, and everyone would respect him. This is my master, I won't let you disrespect my master. Even if it's death, what's there to fear? Mo Bai said firmly again. If that's the case, then don't blame me. Qiu Xingyun said sternly again, and then looked at Hua Taekong on the side. Sect Master Hua, how about we work together to deal with her first? That's fine with me. Hua Taekong said in a deep voice again. as Hua Taokong's voice fell. Boom! Boom! In Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun, a powerful cultivation force was released instantly. The powerful cultivation momentum was earth-shaking, attracting the sky, and the spiritual power in the space was attracted by it, gathering towards the two people's bodies. Almost at the same time, a powerful offensive burst out from the two people and went towards Mo Bai. The offensive of the two great masters was extremely powerful and descended in an instant. Mo Bai saw this scene, and his face changed slightly again. His eyes were filled with a solemnity, but Mo Bai's heart was firm, revealing a sense of determination. This is her master, and she knows that although his master is lying in this coffin motionless, as if he is dead, in fact, his master is not completely dead. Although the body is dead, the soul is not completely destroyed. If Hengzi returns, her master may still be able to. This is also the mission of the leader of Yaokai Xianzong. Therefore, no matter what, Mo Bai would not allow anyone to touch the master in the coffin. Boom! Mo Bai also burst out with amazing momentum, but that momentum was slightly weaker than before. In the collision just now, Mo Bai had actually been injured. But at this moment, Mo Bai had no way out. Boom! The next moment, there was another earth-shaking sound. Puff! There was a sound of blood spurting out, which came from the mouth of Mo Bai. Many people were shocked to see that the leader of the Yaokai immortal sect, Mo Bai, was unable to fight four hands with two fists. Under the joint attack of Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun, he was directly shaken out. Mo Bai's face became a little pale, and his injuries were aggravated. Even his white dress was a little torn, and his body was covered with wounds, and the blood dyed the dress red. After Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun severely injured Mo Bai, they turned their sights to the coffin. The next moment, the two of them headed towards the coffin. Bang! But at this moment, suddenly, an amazing spiritual power attack came again, directly towards Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun. The faces of Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun changed immediately, and they also burst out with great power, directly bombarding the spiritual power attack and blocking it. Boom! The whole space was filled with a huge roar, which shook the whole world. Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun frowned, their faces became a little solemn, and their figures were also shaken back a few steps, looking in another direction. Master Zhao? What do you mean by this? Hua Taokong said coldly again. In front, an old man in a grey robe stood with his hands behind his back in mid-air, looking at Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun calmly. And this old man was Zhao Tianshen, the head of the Zhao family, the strongest man in Dehua. Head of the Zhao family. Qiu Xingyun also looked at Zhao Tianshen with a gloomy face, and his heart was instantly shocked. This Zhao Tianshen actually took action, which was a bit difficult to deal with. Since this Zhao Tianshen was regarded as the strongest man in Dehua, he must have his strengths. If he fought alone, none of them would be his opponent. Even if Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun join forces, there is not much chance of winning. This immortal body. I am of use. Please ask the two sect masters to give it to me. Zhao Tianshen looked at Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun coldly, and said directly. It works. Who is so useless? Master Zhao, this immortal human body is of great use to us. You are already at the peak of divine transformation. You must be able to reach the fairyland without this immortal human body. Why don't you give it to me? I will definitely thank you very much. Hua Taokong immediately said again. Yes. Master Zhao. Even if you don't use this immortal body, you can definitely become an immortal on the right path. Let's give this immortal body to us. Qiu Xingyun also said directly. No matter what, they will definitely not give up. He. Opposite him, Zhao Tianshen, who was standing with his hands behind his back, suddenly laughed lightly when he heard what the two said. It seems that there is no point in talking anymore. For the sake of Dewa's stability, I have no choice but to do so. Zhao Tianxian said directly again. As Zhao Tianxian's voice fell, an unparalleled cultivation aura was suddenly released from Zhao Tianxian's body. This cultivation aura was so powerful that it caused the entire space to tremble. Suddenly, a majestic offensive emerged from Zhao Tianxian's hands. Zhao Tianxian stood there, with divine light flowing around his body, really like a god. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 372. Zhao Tianxian stood there, with divine light flowing around his body, like a god, exuding unparalleled power. The next moment. God is coming. Boom. Zhao Tianxian burst out with majestic power. He only saw Zhao Tianxian raising his hand in the air, as if he had grabbed the entire sky, and then the entire sky was torn down by it, and then he moved towards it with an extremely terrifying momentum. Hua Taikong and Qiu Xingyun suppressed them and left. When Qiu Xingyun and Hua Taikong saw this scene, they felt a strong sense of threat from Zhao Tianxian's offensive. Their expressions suddenly changed, and they released the power of cultivation without reservation. On Qiu Xingyun's body, the Taoist robe was floating, and spiritual light was flowing. Suddenly, a bright golden light appeared, and a whisk appeared in his hand. The whisk was a magical weapon. Suddenly, Qiu Xingyun's fly whisk kept moving in the void, and then strange runes appeared directly on Qiu Xingyun's body, and the runes were also flowing with divine light. Runes filled the sky, directly covering Qiu Xingyun's body, forming a square array of runes. The square array was constantly circling, revealing a shocking power. At the same time, a powerful sword intent emerged from Na Hua Taikong's body, and a long sword also appeared in Hua Taikong's hand. The long sword was like jade, shining with cold light, and it was also a powerful sword. Magical weapon. At this moment, Hua Taikong also exerted all his power of cultivation, and did not dare to be careless in the face of this Zhao Tianxian. Buzz buzz. The whole space buzzed again, and sword lights appeared out of thin air again. Swish, swish, swish. In an instant, the whole space was filled with sword light. The sword light kept moving in the space, and turned into a sword rain all over the sky. The sword rain directly formed an area, and Hua Taicheng's whole body was swept away. All shrouded in it. The field of Kendo. At this moment, the Kendo skills displayed by Hua Taikong clearly belonged to the Kendo field. This is a powerful method that can only be used after one has understood the art of swordsmanship to an extremely profound level. Those who can use it in the field mean that they have begun to understand the power of rules. When a swordsman cultivates the sword to a high level, he can cultivate a powerful sword intention. If he understands the sword intention to the extreme, he can go one step further and gain a glimpse of the power of rules. At this moment, Hua Taikong, who was able to display the realm of swordsmanship, had clearly begun to understand the rules of swordsmanship. Hua Taikong exerted himself in the field of swordsmanship, and he was the master in the field of swordsmanship. Rumble. At this moment, in order to deal with this Zhao Tianxian, Hua Taikong, and Qiu Xingyun, the two great master-level experts, used their strongest methods without reservation. Not bad. But it's still a little bit worse. On the opposite side, when Zhao Tianxian saw this scene, he said in a deep voice, with a hint of coldness in his eyes. Immediately afterwards. Destroy. Zhao Tianxian said another word directly. As Zhao Tianxian said the word annihilation, Zhao Tianxian pointed in the direction of the two people again. With one finger, all the power of heaven and earth seemed to be controlled by Zhao Tianxian, and a majestic figure appeared on Zhao Tianxian's body, with divine light shining brightly, like a real god. The God of heaven destroyed the world with one finger, bringing with it a divine power that shook the heavens and earth. Bang! Immediately afterwards, everyone was shocked to see that the rune square on Qiu Xingyun's body was directly shattered by a supreme force. Almost at the same time, Hua Taokong's sword realm was shattered. Bang! Immediately, a dull roaring sound resounded in the space. Everyone saw in shock that two figures were directly knocked back. Bang 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 bang. Those two people were clearly Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun. Their footsteps kept leaving deep footprints on the ground. When they stood still, two more sounds of blood spurting came from their mouths. The auras on Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun are no longer as strong as they were a moment ago, and have become a little weak. Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun both looked at the figure in front of them, but their expressions became extremely ugly. The two of them joined forces and were suppressed by the other party. This shocked the two of them to the extreme. Is this the strongest man? He's really powerful. The two great masters attacked together, and both were injured. Oh my God, this is so shocking. Even the sect leader was defeated. What should we do? Will the fairy in the coffin fall into the hands of Grand Master Zhao? One after another, shocking voices kept ringing out, including some monks from the Kunlun Immortal sect and the Tewa Sword section. Seeing that their sect masters had been defeated, they were horrified and at the same time felt some fear in their hearts. The power of Zhao Tianchen is shocking. He was still standing there proudly with his hands behind his hands, but his aura was already extremely powerful. After Zhao Tianchen suppressed and seriously injured Hua Taokong and Qiu Xingyun, he did not care about these two people anymore. As long as they did not want to die, they would definitely not dare to take action again. Zhao Tianchen looked at the coffin in front of him again. In the coffin, there is a beautiful female body, like the nine heavens Suanv. Zhao Tianchen looked at this immortal body and couldn't help but feel shocked again. She's so beautiful. But I'm going to be offended. Zhao Tianchen was also amazed by the beauty of this body, but in order to become an immortal, nothing could shake his determination. As Zhao Tianchen said this, Zhao Tianchen moved and walked directly towards the coffin. Soon, Zhao Tianchen had walked to less than 10 feet in front of the coffin. Boom! But at this moment, a white figure burst out with a shocking attack and blasted towards Zhao Tianchen from the side. It was Mo Bai, who suddenly attacked at this moment. Zhao Tianchen's footsteps did not stop, and he waved his hand directly, and blasted towards the opponent with a monstrous force. Bang! A dull sound suddenly rang out, and Mo Bai's body was shaken away again. Immediately, another mouthful of blood came out of Mo Bai's mouth. Senior sister. Are you okay? At this moment, a beautiful green figure rushed towards Mo Bai again and came directly to Mo Bai's side. It was Chu King Ai. I don't want to kill anyone. You are not my opponent either. I advise you not to ask for trouble. Zhao Tianchen glanced at Mo Bai and said lightly, but his voice contained strong confidence. Immediately, Zhao Tianchen stepped forward again. Mo Bai's face was pale and her expression was even more dim. She felt powerless. But Mo Bai's eyes were still firm and decisive. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 373. There was a hint of firmness and determination in Mo Bai's eyes. The next moment, everyone saw that Mo Bai's body burst out with amazing power again, and Mo Bai exerted all the remaining power in his body. Boom! Grand Master, I won't let you fall into the hands of anyone. Mo Bai said firmly again, and immediately burst out a powerful offensive towards Zhao Tianchen. Senior sister. When Chu King Ai saw this scene, a look of surprise suddenly appeared on her pretty face. She shouted at Mo Bai, trying to stop Mo Bai, but she couldn't stop him. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. When Zhao Tianchen saw this scene, he said coldly again, raised his hand, and suddenly there was a majestic force suppressing Mo Bai. Bang! The next moment, everyone saw that a violent force directly hit Mo Bai's body. Puff! Mo Bai's body was blown away again, and a large mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth. Mo Bai's body was hit hard on the ground, and his whole breath was extremely weak, his face was extremely pale, and he was obviously seriously injured. Senior sister. Chu King Ai saw this scene, and her face turned pale instantly. She shouted loudly, and came directly to Mo Bai's side and supported Mo Bai. Senior sister, are you okay? How are you? Chu King Ai said to Mo Bai with a worried look, at a loss. King Ai, I'm fine. Senior sister is useless, senior sister is useless to protect the coffin of the master. Mo Bai's face was bleak, and he said to Chu King Ai weakly, with a hint of self-blame in his voice. While speaking, Mo Bai tried to break free from Chu King Ai's hand, and looked at the coffin in front of him, and it seemed that he still wanted to persist. No. Chu King Ai shook her head slightly when she heard what Mo Bai said. The next moment, Chu King Ai also looked at the coffin in front of her, and even more at the towering figure. The aura released from Zhao Tianchen made Chu King Ai feel a little frightened, but Chu King Ai's eyes also showed a bit of determination at this moment. Boom! In an instant, Chu King Ai also released a powerful cultivation force. This cultivation force is very powerful, but it is far different from the aura of Zhao Tianchen, who is only at the Jindan realm. But even this time, Chu King Ai still broke out and attacked Zhao Tianchen. Junior sister. Don't. Mo Bai, who was next to him, saw the aura fluctuations on Chu King Ai's body, and immediately said in shock, and also wanted to stop it. The other party is a master, even he is not an opponent, how can Chu King Ai be an opponent? Chu King Ai's attack was also very fierce, and Zhao Tianchen came just before he was about to reach the coffin. Don't overestimate your own ability. Zhao Tianchen glanced at Chu King Ai lightly, waved his hand, and then a powerful force hit Chu King Ai's body directly. Chu King Ai's attack was completely broken at this moment, and then he suffered a huge impact, and the whole person flew backwards, falling towards the distance like a bird with broken wings. King Ai. Mo Bai was also shocked when he saw this scene, and shouted loudly, trying to catch Chu King Ai, but his body was severely injured and he couldn't use any cultivation power at all. Mo Bai's eyes were full of horror, but Chu King Ai at this moment, there was only despair. She felt an extreme pain, but more of a kind of powerlessness. The whole sky was dim, and she seemed to know nothing. It seemed that Chu King Ai was about to fall to the ground. But at this moment, a figure flashed and appeared beside Chu King Ai, taking Chu King Ai's body. There was no pain of falling heavily to the ground as expected. Chu King Ai only felt that her body was embraced by a huge and powerful arm, and a man's breath came to her face. Chu King Ai saw a handsome face in front of her, and this face was very familiar. Are you okay? Li Hao said lightly to the beauty in his arms. At this moment, Li Hao's voice fell into Chu King Ai's ears, making Chu King Ai stunned. Chu King Ai looked at the man in front of her, but felt how stable this voice was. This embrace, how warm it is. At this moment, Chu King Ai, who was desperate, had hope again at this moment. Is it you? But soon, Chu King Ai came back to her senses and said to the handsome young man in front of her. Isn't this young man in front of her the guy who robbed her key? She even wanted me to be her maid. Chu King Ai didn't expect that it was this boy who saved her when she was in the most dangerous and desperate moment. Isn't it me? Li Hao said lightly. Are you okay? Li Hao asked directly again. No, it's okay. Chu King Ai said immediately. At this moment, she was held in Li Hao's arms. Chu King Ai's pale face turned red again. As she spoke, she was trying to break free from Li Hao's arms. Ah! But just after letting go of Li Hao's arms, Chu King Ai instantly felt a sense of weakness. She felt that her whole body was soft and she couldn't mobilize her strength at all. She screamed and her body softened and she was about to fall down again. Helpless, Li Hao could only quickly support him, and then directly put one hand around Chu King Ai's waist, and passed his other hand under Chu King Ai's calf to hug him directly. "What are you doing?" Chu King Ai's beautiful face turned pale and she asked Li Hao again. Li Hao wanted to say it, but he didn't say anything. He directly carried Chu King Ai to Mo Bai's side and put him down. "Stay well," Li Hao said directly to Chu King Ai again. Next to him, when Mo Bai saw this scene, his eyes were inexplicably filled with anger. "Friendly Dao!" Mo Bai couldn't help shouting to Li Hao. Li Hao condensed slightly and looked at Mo Bai. "Tell me if you have anything to say," Li Hao said directly. Can you please help us? My master's immortal body cannot fall into their hands." Mo Bai said to Li Hao again, mustering up her courage. This was the first time in her life that she asked for help. "Ask me to help you? What's the benefit?" Li Hao looked at Mo Bai calmly, with interest in his eyes. But when Mo Bai heard Li Hao's words, his pretty face changed again. "You?" Mo Bai couldn't help but look at Li Hao and blurted out. "As long as my master's immortal body is not allowed to fall into their hands, no matter what," Mo Bai said directly again, risking his whole body. When Li Hao heard Mo Bai's words, his eyes suddenly lit up again. "No matter what, it's okay? That's what you said?" A smile suddenly appeared on Li Hao's face, but his eyes kept looking at Mo Bai. "I have to say that this Mo Bai is really good looking and well proportioned. Even if he is injured at this moment, he is so pitiful over there." Feeling Li Hao's unabashed gaze, Mo Bai's pale and pretty face suddenly turned a little more rosy, making Mo Bai look a little brighter. At this moment, Li Hao had no intention of admiring, and turned his attention to Zhao Tianxian in front of him, and then slowly walked towards Zhao Tianxian. "You really think highly of me?" Li Hao murmured again. "You must know that this Zhao Tianxian is at the peak of the God transformation realm, and even though his cultivation is on the edge of the middle stage of the God transformation realm at the moment, he is still far behind him." However, Li Hao still walked forward without hesitation. At this moment, Zhao Tianxian has arrived in front of the coffin, only one step away. Zhao Tianxian can even open the coffin and take out the immortal body of the woman inside. However, at this moment, Zhao Tianxian looked to one side again. There was a young man slowly walking towards him. It was the newly promoted Grand Master. Zhao Tianxian frowned slightly, but his eyes did not change much. "You want to stop me?" Zhao Tianxian said to Li Hao calmly. His voice was calm, but it was full of pride. "That's right." Li Hao also said calmly, "A strong man at the peak of the God transformation realm wants to rob someone else's ancestor's body. How is this different from robbing someone else's ancestral tomb? Isn't it a bit unjustifiable? Haha. It is indeed unreasonable. But I just want the immortality method in this immortal body. For the peace of Dawa, for Dawa to stand on the top of the continent again. This is all I can do." After hearing Li Hao's words, Zhao Tianxian laughed again and said directly, his voice filled with a sense of righteousness. "What a hypocritical excuse for Dawa's peace. To put it bluntly, it's just for the sake of strong strength. It's so righteous and awe-inspiring." When Li Hao heard Zhao Tianxian's words, he dismissed them and said coldly, without being polite at all. On the opposite side, when Zhao Tianxian heard Li Hao's words, his expression suddenly became extremely gloomy. Even his breath couldn't help but fluctuate. The power of cultivation in his body was involuntarily moving, and he stared closely. Xiang Li Hao looked like he was about to take action in anger. Haha. Are you going to get angry? Come on, let's fight. When Li Hao saw Zhao Tianxin's appearance, he burst into laughter and said proudly, with a strong fighting spirit in his voice. The old man in front of him is the most powerful person in Dehua, a person at the peak of the God transformation realm. This is the strongest opponent Li Hao has ever encountered, but at this moment, Li Hao does not have the slightest fear, but is full of strong fighting spirit. You are no match for me. If I take action, I will not hold back. Zhao Tianxian said to Li Hao coldly. You won't know until your opponent tries it. Come on. Li Hao said proudly. Boom. As Li Hao's voice fell, a powerful force of cultivation was instantly released from Li Hao's body. The early stage of the divine transformation realm is one step away from the mid-stage of the divine transformation realm, but the level of majesty is still comparable to the middle stage of the divine transformation realm. Around Li Hao's body, there was a spiritual light rising and flowing rapidly, making Li Hao's body filled with aura. The next moment, a powerful sword intent instantly emerged from Li Hao's body, an endless sword light shone in the sky. Go! Li Hao shouted coldly and pointed directly in the direction of Zhao Tianxian. Immediately, a powerful sword energy struck towards Zhao Tianxian. When Zhao Tianxian saw this scene, a strange color flashed in his eyes. He didn't expect that the guy in front of him was actually a sword cultivator. He had cultivated the power of swordsmanship to such an advanced level that he could not even compare to Hua Taikong of Taiwa Sword Section Duorang. Even within this sword, there is also a powerful power of the rules of the sword. A sword slashed out, as if the whole world was about to be cut open, and it descended instantly. But at this moment, a strange fluctuation appeared on Zhao Tianxin's body, and he saw Zhao Tianxin's hand forming a seal instantly. Buzz buzz. The entire void was trembling, and the divine light on Zhao Tianxin's body appeared again, and then he blasted out a palm, like a god directly blasting out a palm. Rumble. The next moment, the entire space was shaking. I saw that Li Hao's sky-opening sword was directly blocked by Zhao Tianxin's palm. When Li Hao saw this scene, his heart suddenly condensed. But it's at this moment again. Thunder comes. Li Hao actually shouted to the sky. Li Hao stood there proudly, but his voice sounded like it was ringing in everyone's ears, and everyone was surprised at the moment. Crackling. Above the sky, a thunder suddenly resounded instantly. Rumble. A strange power emerged from Li Hao's body, and the whole world became a little dim at this moment, extremely depressed, accompanied by the roaring sounds of thunder. Everyone was shocked to see that purple light also appeared on Li Hao's body, carrying a violent power. That's the power of thunder. Li Hao's aura began to rise again at this moment, becoming extremely violent. Thunder Cultivator. Opposite, Zhao Tianxian saw this scene, and a strange color suddenly appeared in his eyes. Unexpectedly, the guy in front of me actually mastered the method of thunder and was a cultivator of thunder. At this moment again, the thunder flowed around Li Hao's body, and he turned into a thunder giant, and suddenly blasted in the direction of Zhao Tianxian, with extremely violent and destructive power. Zhao Tianxian frowned slightly, and with the divine light flowing from his body, he also punched directly. Bang! The next moment, everyone heard an earth-shattering roar erupting from the entire space. There are extremely violent forces colliding, making the whole world tremble. Immediately afterwards, extremely powerful energy ripples spread in all directions, stirring up waves of dust all over the sky. In the dust waves, everyone faintly saw a figure being pushed back. That figure was clearly Li Hao, and he was knocked back several feet. On the opposite side, Zhao Tianxian remained motionless.